All right, we're live. Testing, testing. Today on Quality Time with Family Ties, we learn about Ol' Scrapper.
3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Pepper, sitting in beautifully sunny and warm. Is it warm where you are? It looks like it might be.
Very. I just put in my air conditioner last night.
Do you take your air conditioner out because of the leakage in the window during the winter?
My air conditioner is one that doesn't go into the window. It's a big one that you just have a pipe that goes out the window.
Oh, is it like a unit? It's like a portable unit?
Exactly.
The apartment that I was staying in Hell's Kitchen last week had one of those. It actually cooled the room quite effectively.
Yes, yes. So that's what I do.
Oh, that's very good. In fact, I'm getting our air conditioner in our living room has lived its lifetime and is finished. So we don't have central air in this house. So I have to get I have a new air conditioner sitting here that I bought from Amazon, but I'm Jewish and 60, so I don't put in air conditioner units. I hire someone to do that.
Corey, you have like a 15-year-old son. He can't put it in the window for you?
Have you noticed that he's pretty and blonde?
See, all right. I didn't know if you could push him that far, or
no,
it would just...
no. That's not something that's going to happen. Not in this lifetime. No, he's too fragile emotionally.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing my dad ever got me to like mow the lawn.
I can't believe I did it too. I did it when I was a teenager. I don't do it now. Now I hire people, but
it's funny that you say that your air conditioner died, because today's episode is also
about a death.
Also about death.
Yes.
A death in the family. We have Nick's dog is introduced for the first and last time in this episode.
He is, and I guess that was my first note on how puzzling it was.
Yeah, this is season 7, episode 10, our last foray into double digits. And what's the title of it? Nick's Best Friend, right?
Nick's Best Friend, episode 7.
Yeah,
exactly. And I guess my first gripe, my usual gripe with the show is they throw something at us on year 7 that they've never mentioned before. And in this case, it's that Nick is a dog lover, B, has a dog, and it's an old dog, a dog named Scrapper.
He's had it for 16 years, and because it's a long bit where he does the math, but he can't do math, and then Elise helps him by carrying the 6, and it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with.
It is. And
but the episode starts because it's Andy's birthday. Do you remember that whole thing with the letter opener?
I do. It was, once again, their incredibly impotent attempt at a B plot in this show. Although I only say impotent because it just doesn't ever really, I mean, I guess in this one, it's sort of, they keep it going the whole episode, but it's not interesting.
Yeah, it's a B plot in search of a plot, because the whole time it starts with Alex trying to teach Andy how to get money out of envelopes. And he has a letter opener, and he rips it open quickly, and then he shucks it. He does like a wrist motion, and then the money is supposed to pop out.
It's like a whole shtick that he's got going here of what to do. And I guess they all thought this was really funny to give Michael this bit.
Right. But then what happens is it becomes, the B plot goes away from that and becomes a thing about Steven trying to throw the best 7-year-old birthday party in the history of 7-year-old birthday parties. And it's weird because I didn't realize Andy was this old by now.
I was stunned. I thought 4th. I thought 4th birthday.
Yeah, I thought it was 5th or 6th. Yeah.
And it was like, oh, really? I'm shocked.
So, yeah, so this B-plot, like I said, it's just constantly searching for what it's about, and then they bring in a lobster guy and a clown, and you're just like, what the hell's going on at this point?
I know, it's very strange. I don't quite understand it at all.
But I thought it was interesting that when Mallory comes in, she comes in the back door, as is her wont, and they're in the kitchen, and she announces that Nick is about to walk in with his best friend. And
right.
And I thought it was very funny in the same way that, like, Greg in My Name is Alex where they're like they're front loading that he's the best friend. Like this, he's known this thing for years, and they're always together and has never been spoken about before.
And that's what's so strange, is that we've never, people who are dog lovers mention that they're dog lovers. It happens. It's one of those things. It just didn't really make a hell of a lot of sense to me. The other thing, I love it when Andy, when Alex tries to steal money from Andy.
Yeah, he does like a paper moon, sort of like trying to put it in his pocket.
Right. And then, hey, where'd you learn that from, huh?
Oh, what a card, that Alex P. Keaton.
And then who is it? Jennifer comes down with Andy's birthday wish list, and it's like, the joke, like big books, big scroll.
Yes. And it gets a big laugh, but it doesn't make any sense. And they're trying to make like Andy into an asshole, but all right.
It's only making an Andy an asshole via Alex.
Yes, like Alex is a bad influence, causing Andy to write this big long list of what he wants for his birthday.
Mm-hmm. So, and you're right. When Mallory was doing that best friend, and I'm not even crazy about the way Justine Bateman plays it, like she's hitting me over the head with a fucking anvil.
Right.
It's his best friend. Do you want to know his name? It was just, the whole thing was just really heavy. And then we meet Scrapper, who is a very old-looking mutt, and comes in immediately into the kitchen of the Keaton household and takes a shine of all people to Alex P. Keaton.
Yeah, that snout went right into Michael J. Fox's crotch. It was just...
and all I could think was, Michael J. Fox reacted just like you do when a dog gets like really close to you.
I don't like dogs.
And we're not gonna harp on that, but he does react facially and physically like, no, I don't like dog saliva. I don't like dogs kissing in the face. I know, and dog lovers love that shit. But I know that you don't, and obviously. Alex P. Keaton apparently doesn't either.
I'd never empathized with him more until that moment.
You are kindred spirits up until this point, but that's where it ends, because he becomes a sociopath for the rest of the episode.
Indeed.
We go from here to the living room where Mr. Keaton, Stephen, is interviewing party clowns.
Yeah, he actually has a clown sitting on the couch in full garb and pantomiming and not speaking at all.
Yes. Oh, boy. Wow. My notes on the show are shoddy, I must say.
Well, this episode's pretty shoddy. Not a lot happens in it.
Somebody questions the love of dogs in this scene. Who questions the love of dogs? Someone does.
Well, Steven tries to gussy up or whatever, or like tries to pet Scraps or Scrap, whatever the fuck the dog's name is. And
Scrapper doesn't not like Stephen Keaton.
Right. And so that becomes actually, I thought it was kind of funny.
I did too. It was one of the things I thought was sort of funny, because it's not just Scrapper who doesn't like Stephen Keaton. We find out later on, all dogs don't like Stephen Keaton.
All dogs hate Stephen Keaton. I love this character.
I know it's funny. It doesn't make a tremendous amount of sense, but it is funny.
Yes.
It appears as though Nick and Mallory and Scrapper are outside playing frisbee. Is that what they're doing outside? Playing frisbee?
Yeah. So here's the thing, guys. A 16-year-old dog, like a smaller dog, they can live longer. A bigger dog, not as much. But a 16-year-old dog, regardless of size, is a fucking old dog, right?
Right.
And so to take a 16-year-old dog out to play frisbee, to me, doesn't seem like it would happen.
No, it's unlikely. It's unlikely the dog would be interested in playing frisbee at 16.
No, exactly. They would be interested in like not shitting on themselves.
Right. Old dogs, generally, their whole life at that point is just lying around and smelling bad.
Yes.
That's pretty much what an old dog does. Yes, there are some old dogs that got a little bit of spunk in them periodically, but generally speaking, they lie around.
Yes. And so what happens is they're going out to the front lawn to play frisbee with this dying dog. And apparently in a demented haze, Scrapper runs into traffic trying to like self-immolate.
He has canine dementia and he runs into the street.
Right.
And he's hit by a car. Now, this is where our story really veers off to a terrible, terrible place. Yes. Because this is the point where any rational dog owner goes, I fucked up. Sorry. Gotta put the dog down. But no, Nick, the artist living in Dayton, Ohio, has decided that he is going to schlep Scrapper to the nearest veterinary hospital, which, by the way, looked exactly like the hospital set from Stephen's heart attack of 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that ER, or not the ER, but like whatever the waiting room is the same waiting room.
It's exactly the same. They just gussied it up like it was a vet's office and put a couple of dog charts. What breed is this?
They put a hang in their kitty poster.
That's exactly right. They really made no other attempt at trying to make it seem like it was a different set.
And so they're all waiting around to see how Scrapper's doing in surgery. And everyone's there, and Alex has kittens on his sweater.
Yes, they're kittens, like running around Alex's sweater, running upon Alex P. Keaton.
It was literally just a Tiger Beat photo shoot that they put on film. They were like, Michael J. Fox is so tall, bring kittens.
Oh, man. And nobody at any point in this whole episode ever mentions the single most important thing to an owner of a dog. How much is this gonna cost me?
That's all I could think about.
How much does this cost? It's a fucking operation, and I know you don't have animal insurance. So
Nick Moore doesn't have person insurance at this point.
Right. It's out of pocket, and it's all you, unemployed artist Nick.
And let me tell you something. As the socialist Paul Packler, that would have been a hell of an episode. Is Nick having to come to terms with the fact that his lifestyle can't bring his dog? Like, let's say the dog could make it. And they're like, all right, it's going to cost $7,000. And he's like, oh my God, it's 1988 and I'm an artist.
Right. I can't afford that. The choices I've made in my life up to this point did not permit me to medically care for an old dog who just got hit by a car.
And that would have been a hell of an episode.
Absolutely, it would have been. It could have been funny, and it could have been touching, and it could have explored a whole bunch of things, especially Nick really exploring the fact that his artist's lifestyle is limiting.
Yes, yes.
And sorry, buddy, you got to face that fact. That's going to limit you.
Exactly.
And really, we're left at the end of this scene with Nick sending the dog into surgery and us not really knowing if he's going to pull through. The doctor definitely recommended putting the dog down, which Nick, of course, once again, acted brain dead, didn't understand what putting the dog down was.
Yeah. Just to clarify, though, Corey, before, because this is going to be the commercial break, I think. Right. But like, what the doctor says to him is that there was brain damage, that it wasn't just a broken leg.
Right. Internal injuries.
Yeah, some internal bleeding, injuries, broken leg, and some brain damage. And so all Nick says is, well, do the operation to see what you can do, like with the leg, I guess.
There's nothing quite like being the owner of a brain-damaged old dog.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's weird to me that the writers of this episode made it at this point so early in the episode that it's like, here's the choice between life and death. And
absolutely didn't let them raise the stakes a little gradually.
Yeah, and so they just turn away from the obvious choice. And whereas, like, I was thinking, oh, they're going to kill the dog immediately, and then the after effects of that is what will. But instead, they just drag it out.
That's what I thought, and that's why you said a few moments ago, this is the show that has a plot that's virtually plotless.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the single log line, that's the plot. That's all you get.
Yeah, it's just they put a dog to sleep at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's a hell of a way to go to a commercial break. But It's good enough for Family Ties. It's good enough for us.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back. And we're back.
Now we have to be much cheerier because we're discussing a dog's death now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure half of the audience is gone at this point now that they know how it ends.
Please, yeah, we gave away the ending. No spoiler alert did we mention, but we open Act 2 in the living room with Stephen. Now, apparently, he's interviewing crustaceans.
So it's a guy who I thought was like some comedian of the time, but
he is.
Who was it?
Scott LaRose. I knew Scott LaRose.
Wow. I feel really bad for him because he got 0 lines in this episode.
He got 0 lines, and he was the headliner at when I first moved out to LA. I was working as a regular at the Improv in New York, and when I first moved out to LA, the club that I decided I would work out here was called LA Cabaret, and Scott LaRose was the star of the LA Cabaret when I first started doing sets there.
Wow. What kind of stand-up was he doing?
Just typical, just observational, very, just almost he could tour college campuses in a heartbeat. He's very clean.
It's interesting to me in this episode that like this character doesn't talk at all. I don't know why, because you see his face the whole time.
You do, and it's sort of, he's got a comical face. It's sort of like, okay, you hired the guy because he's funny looking, and now you don't use it at all.
Yeah. And he's dressed up in a big Red Lobster suit that's like 6 feet tall, and Steven's trying to interview him. And I don't know why you would have a lobster at a kid's birthday party.
Nor do I know why you'd have to interview a lobster. I'm not really sure. And actually, Steven actually says at one point, one of the only funny lines of the whole episode to me, which was, you can't have a birthday party without a crustacean. And it was like, okay, that's pretty funny. I know it's like the whole reason why I'm questioning why there's even a crustacean to begin with. And now it's like, because you expect a crustacean at every 7-year-old's party.
Yeah.
Like they had the costume lying around. Let's use it.
Yeah, I can't figure out why he doesn't have any lines, and that they would have someone who is obviously not just like an intern or an extra,
right? Like
they obviously auditioned this guy.
Oh, clearly.
Anyway,
and then Andy shows up in this very early in the scene and dumps a pail of cold water all over Stephen, metaphorically speaking. He comes in and he announces that he doesn't want to have a party.
Boom.
Yeah.
But why?
And it's like, why? Well, as a Scrapper. Scrapper's, somewhere between life and death, and I'm worried about Scrapper.
Now, let's remember, this is the other thing. Remember that episode where there was the deaf child that Andy was best friends with, and he was like the nicest person on earth?
Let's rephrase it. That's the episode that made you cry, Paul.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The episode that made you cry, that reduced Paul Packler to tears.
Right. I think it's the only one thus far.
I believe so. Yes. That's why it's memorable.
But so obviously Andy Keaton is a very empathetic person.
Obviously, yes.
But in the first scene, they had that big long list of the things that he wanted because he's a shitty asshole. So It's like he can't be both guys.
Absolutely. That's why I said they use him as the Alex P. Keaton joke, and then they actually give him his own personality too. You can't have it both ways. There is nothing empathetic about Alex P. Keaton.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
And so you can't have him as the most empathetic kid who totally emulates his older brother. Well, if he totally emulates his older brother, the one thing he's not is empathetic.
Exactly.
And that's why this episode veers to the sociopathic at this point. Because once again, episode about a dog dying, I'll expand that. Nick's dog dying. Mallory's boyfriend, Nick's dog's dying. But who do we focus on for the rest of the episode? Pretty much Alex P. Keaton.
Yeah. It's pretty standard operating procedure with Family Ties, where they try to find a way to get Alex in there because he's the joke monster. He's the one that's going to make this all work.
That's right. He's the joke monster. I love it. That's exactly what happens. So we take a perfectly executable plot, if they had done it our way, or even if they did it their way, and make it about Nick and Mallory, or Mallory. Let's say Mallory doesn't like the dog, doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Oh, that would be interesting too.
Absolutely. I don't give a shit. I feel so guilty. Nick loves the dog so much, and I don't care.
Like, none of these ideas that you and I are having are the most interesting things ever. It's just like, these are the ways that you can make this, because they found a way to make it the most boring.
Yes. Instead of take a stab at it, guys, just make it interesting a little bit. Give us something here. I will willingly confess to you, that's the end of my notes. I have one more note down, and it just says, that scene all about Alex, which we just went over. So I have nothing else to say. I don't even remember it. We go to the vet. Oh, we go to the vet scene after this, right? We go to the vet. And we find out that the vet calls at the end of the last scene back in the living room and informs Alex that, by the way, the vet, I don't think he ever worked again. He doesn't have a picture on IMDb.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's like I looked up. I thought, oh, he looks familiar. Nah, he's nobody. He never worked again. He calls and he informs Nick that Scrapper is doing poorly.
And so at that point, I thought, okay, the dog is gonna be dead by the time they get there.
That's what I thought too, but no such luck.
No, so they get there, and again, it's the same scene that we had before the commercial break, where the doctor's like, "Hey, this dog is in a comatose state right now. If we wake him up, he's going to be scared and hurting." That's a weird thing that I've never heard before. But like, he's trying to make some sort of like appeal to pity from Nick.
I know. Can I just add something in? If your dog's comatose and you're going to put the dog down, you're really anthropomorphizing dogs a bit much to think that the dog's going to give a rat's ass, that the dog cares about saying goodbye to you. No, humans have the need to say goodbye to their pets. The dog is sick, dying, and a fucking dog.
Right. Yeah.
This seems almost cruel to say, we're going to awaken your dog from a coma so that you may tell the dog goodbye, and then we can then euthanize the dog.
I mean, good God, you could, like, here's the thing about dogs, folks. I don't want to break any news here, but they don't understand what you're saying no matter when, like, whether conscious or unconscious.
Now, I have been present at the euthanization of 2 dogs. I think 2. Definitely 1. The most recent one I remember. The dog was very sick, was immobile, couldn't move, and I had to carry a incontinent 75-pound piece of dead weight into the vet's office and up onto his table for the vet to say, do you want to have a few moments before I give him a shot? And I said, yes. And before that, he gave the dog some topical thing to relax the dog even more. The dog couldn't move anyway. That's why I was euthanizing him, because he didn't know how to move. And he was on his way out. He was uncomfortable and in pain. Dogs like to move. So I didn't feel bad. It's the right thing to do. And what I think every dog owner knows when it's the right thing to do, because if you care about your dog, you don't want your dog to be in pain. So when the vet said to Nick, he's going to be scared and in pain, why wouldn't you say at that point, oh, no, don't wake him up from the coma. I don't want him to be in pain.
Yes, exactly. I completely agree.
People and animals. Oh, no, if you're going to tell me the dog's going to be in pain, I don't want the dog to be in pain. That's why I'm euthanizing him, because I don't want him to be in pain.
Yes, I completely agree. They draw this out far too long, and it makes Nick look like a jerk a little bit.
And then they bring a dog in for Nick to say goodbye to that is, and I don't know any other way to describe it to people who haven't seen it. The dog is a dog actor, and the dog is acting as though the dog is dying. And I don't know any other way of saying it. The dog is clearly not dying, folks. It's an actor dog. It's a performing dog. It's a member of Screen Actors Guild or the Pets Association or whatever it is that the dogs are members of. But this dog is neither sick nor injured nor dying, and he's acting that he's sick, injured, and dying. And it's early Brian Bonsall.
Yeah, I'll be honest. The dog had a little bit too much life in its eyes. I thought its performance was ham-fisted, and
it was not a good performance by the dog. The dog was making direct eye contact with its owner and was very happy to see that owner.
Yeah, and I'm amazed that someone thought, you know what? There's going to be episodes of television and movies where a dog has to die. I'm going to teach my dog how to act sick.
I don't think that ever came up, and therefore we saw what we saw, which was.
Oh, you're saying this is without training. They didn't train.
I don't even think they bothered. I think they realized what it was like. Oh no, we're never going to teach him to look like he's dead. He's got too much life. This 4-year-old mutt's got way too much life in him.
Yeah. But I also thought it was funny that, like, when a dog is sick and about to be euthanized, to be like, Nick, why don't you come into the room where it is, as opposed to we'll carry it to you and put it in your arms.
That was the other thing. It's like, no, you don't really ask too much of a dying dog. You put him in someone's arms. If you want to say something, and then you take him out of the arms and put him on a vet's table. And when my dog was euthanized, he was lying on the vet's table and was given a shot while I petted him. His closed already, he was gone. So, you pet him, and then all of a sudden he stops breathing, and the doctor says, would you like to spend a few moments with the dog? And I went, fuck it, no, the dog's dead. Okay, let's get rid of him. Dispose of him as you will, and we'll move on to the next animal.
Right. But I have to say, though, the fact that they took the comatose dog into the room that Nick was at was the most family ties thing ever. I'm surprised that they didn't bring the dog into the kitchen. That they weren't like...
Absolutely. I thought, where's Mallory? And first of all, was Alex present during the scene?
Yeah, because they actually made a writery excuse of why he was there. They were like, Alex, you love this dog so much in the 12 hours you've met him. And he's like, I know, and he starts doing this crying thing that is a joke throughout the episode.
Right.
And so they say that just so that way Alex will be there in the scene. They make up this excuse.
And do we end here in the vet's office? Is this where we end? Because I really have no notes and no memory.
Oh God, no, Corey. So the scene concludes with Nick praying to God.
I just want to stop. You understand now why I've blocked this out and why I did not pay any attention to it. The minute he started to pray to God, now you're mentioning it, it's like, yeah, I do vaguely remember this now. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Nick and a bad actor dog sitting in a chair, stage right, as he pets the dog, and you know what? Scott Valentine is good and all, but he's really trying to get a tear to eke out of his eye, and he can't get it to happen.
No, that just doesn't happen.
And so when he starts praying, it's a lot of hemming and hawing, and it's just really embarrassing to watch. And I felt uncomfortable the whole time. And that's it. He just does like a Hail Mary and please take my dog and play Frisbee with him in heaven.
He does say something like that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He does say something like that. I just remembered.
So this episode concludes at Andy's birthday party. Do you remember that part, Corey?
No, I totally stopped watching. I heard the theme. I must have been reading something, and then I heard blah, 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 blah. I heard the theme, and it was like, oh, it's over. Okay, great. What happened?
So the lobster is there at the party.
Okay, Scott LaRose is back in that scene. I did see that. Okay.
Yeah, Andy is opening a present that he already knew what it was because Jennifer told him because she couldn't lie to him. Chemistry set, right. And so this is happening. The party's kind of a bust. And the whole thing that to me was the weirdest part of this B-plot is that, Steven wants to throw the most lavish, balls-to-the-wall 7-year-old birthday party in the history of man, and there's not one other fucking kid there. Don't you think a 7-year-old has friends?
Yeah. I was just saying, and not only that, but they never once even discuss the who inviting everybody in your class, whatever it is. There's always, that's the discussion.
Yeah,
I mean, expectations and clowns.
For all they've done in this episode, all the sets that they've actually built and or whatever, they bought a lobster costume, but they didn't get like half a dozen kid extras to be here.
Exactly. It would have cost, guys, it would have been like $40 for like all 7 of them. It cost you under $300 for fucking extras on this.
Yeah, it's very odd. And so Andy's still upset, and this party sucks because of it. And then Nick walks in the door, and he's like, "Ugh, so the dog's dead, and I'm real sad about it, and all this kind of stuff." And they're like, "Well, you did the right thing, Nick, and you're almost like family." And at least give Steven a look for having said something nice to this person grieving. And he's
Right.
like, "Well, his dog's dead. What are you gonna do?"
Mm-hmm.
And again, I just have to remind everybody, Elise and Steven, with regard to Nick, are the shittiest people on earth.
To someone who has been supportive and kind to every member of their family.
Yes, constantly. Even when he realizes they're being jerks.
Absolutely. He's kind to every one of them. And yet they can't say a nice thing about the man who clearly loves their daughter.
Yeah, and especially, we've said in the past that Steven's a jerk a lot of the time, and this is obviously where Alex gets it from in some instances. But when Elise is mean to Nick, it's something you never see before. So you just get there's this deep well of hatred that Elise has that she doesn't let out in most situations, but this is it.
Yeah, I'm going to unleash it on Nick after his dog dies.
Yeah. Or in other times that she's mean to him.
Yeah, well, always.
So all this is happening, and Andy, like a mensch, goes, "Nick, I got you a present." Maybe, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. But he's like, let's say that's how it turned out. He's like, "Nick, I got you a present." And he like corrals him over the sofa and sits him down, and he pulls out this big fuck off picnic basket. Right. And Nick opens it up, and you hear, "Ee, ee, ee, ee," and it's a puppy.
There's a shock.
Now, Corey, when you said you put your dog to sleep and then you were like, "Let's get another fucking dog," realistically, how long was it till you got another dog?
A month.
That's pretty short.
It is. Susanna would have preferred it to be longer. I'm the one who let me say, I had missed having a dog. My dog had cancer, and he smelled awful, and he had tumors all over his face. I couldn't kiss him. I couldn't hug him. He was disgusting over the last year and a half of his life. I mean, we sought no medical treatment at all. We were just letting him live out life. And we knew we would know when the time was right to put him down, because the doctor said the tumors were all malignant, but they weren't causing him any pain.
Yeah.
So we woke up one morning and he just stopped moving. So that's when we knew the time was right. But I waited only a month because I missed having a dog. I like hugging and kissing dogs. So I wanted the dog. After a month, it was like, well, I really didn't have a dog for the last year and a half. I was like a patient. He was like this. He was disgusting, and it's like, oh, he just wasn't himself. I mean, it wasn't my dog; it was just a sick patient. So,
right.
But I do like one of Logan's good friends. They lost their dog recently, and it's been 6 to 8 months. Maybe you wait 6 or 8 months before you get a dog. That would be the most common thing.
Sure. But so I thought it was weird that Andy was just like, "Hey, by the way, the engine in your car is still warm from coming from the vet. Here's a new dog."
And the other thing is, and here's something that I think is a horrible thing: you never pick out a dog for anybody else.
That's true. I didn't think of that. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's an awful thing to do to somebody. Hey, here's a dog you've got to care for the rest of that dog's life, or else you look like a shithead giving it up to somebody else. But here, it's yours. I picked it out for you. I hope you like this breed. I hope the dog's a good dog. And if it's not, it's your problem. Bye.
And that's totally a Keaton thing they would do, too.
Yeah, bye. I was just telling Logan when we were in New York, I remembered that I had a girlfriend when I was 21 years old, I believe, 21, who bought me a puppy and then broke up with me.
Whoa! Like right after?
Yes. It was a puppy I wanted, so I was very pleased. I had the dog, and the dog lived a very long 14 years with me. But I thought it was, in retrospect, what a shitty thing to do. She tied me down so that I couldn't date very easily, sleep, and this was in the 70s, kids, so sleep around. You just couldn't spend the night at somebody else's house, somebody else's apartment. So I was tied to my dog
Wow. And she's the one that got it for you. So it's that you always associate it with her.
I did, and I didn't mind it. It was a great dog. And by the way, and she and I got back together again a few times after that initial breakup. When she
oh, so give me a fucking break, Corey, that you're giving this girl. Oh, hey, this girl got me the puppy that I wanted. We broke up because whatever, but then we still fucked around for like the next 3 years, so it's fine.
God's honest truth. That's exactly right. Now that I've heard you say the story, yeah, it wasn't the best thing. I shouldn't have complained.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's, you know.
It was a good dog.
What kind of dog? What was the breed?
Cocker Spaniel.
What was the name?
Gatsby.
Gatsby, after The Great Gatsby?
Yes.
Because of the movie or the book?
Because of Robert Redford. He was blonde like Redford.
I love Robert Redford.
Yeah, it was right after the Redford movie, and the dog was blonde, had beautiful blonde hair, so I called him Gatsby.
That's awesome. Was this the same dog that you were walking when John Lennon was assassinated?
Bingo. That was it.
Look at this. I'm like, it's like Citizen Kane, and I am tying your life all together. I'm figuring out all this stuff.
And the dog that was attacked after we moved to Los Angeles, the dog that was attacked by Pia Zadora's dog. Yes, the dog that was attacked by Pia Zadora's dog. And I knew that it was Pia Zadora's, was the owner. We were told immediately that, and she insisted that she would pay all vet bills. And I remember saying to my ex-wife, she's married to a fucking an Israeli gazillionaire. You bet your ass. And you know they paid every fucking bill quite nicely.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Was she there when it happened, or I'm guessing not?
It was like a nanny or a dog walker or something.
All right. Wow, this Gatsby had a hell of a life.
Gatsby lived a good life. I know, a storied life. Take that, Scrapper.
So, that's it. Yeah. Nick gets a new dog and credits. So that's the episode. It was terrible, right? That was a bad episode.
It was terrible.
Yeah. On that note, yeah, rate and review our show on iTunes. For questions and comments, email us at qualitytimewithfamilyties@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at QTWFT for updates, and you can follow each of us. I'm at Paul Packler.
I'm at Corpep, and Scott Jones is at Follow Jones.
And don't forget to send us pictures of you with orange shoes, #OJ with QTWFT. Like our page on Facebook, we'd like to thank our host and producer, Barbara Dillon at Fanbase Press. Fanbase Press is a comic book publisher and an online community supporting creators and fans through daily reviews, interviews, and podcasts that span the pop culture spectrum. Fanbasepress.com. We'd like to thank Perry Adams, who beautifully performs Family Ties and our theme song Without Us. Check out her website, perryadams.com. We'd like to thank Bryant Dillon, who created our fantastic drawing and artwork as well as edits our show. Bryant is the president and co-founder of Fanbase Press. Follow him on Twitter at Comic Book Slayer. And finally, Sean Foster, Fanbase Press's graphic designer, for designing our logo. Gang, we'll see you next week.
Sha-la-la-la.
Bye.